For the Interrobang, I'm Jack Sutton. This week, you probably already know our guest. She is the co-host of the Red Couch podcast, Ms. Briar Wilson.
Hello. It's weird being in the guest spot this week.
Right? So Briar, if you're wondering why I've brought Briar here, this is a very special couple weeks for Canada. And Briar is XFM News resident Swiftie expert. So yeah, we're going to talk about Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, and what that all means. And there's no better person to ask than Briar Wilson. So Briar, you're going to the concert.
I am, Jack, on Saturday, which is the closing night in Toronto. So she's done 6 shows in Toronto. They started last weekend. They go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then she's had a week off. And then they start again Thursday, Friday, Saturday. By the time this airs, though, I would have already gone.
True.
No. Yes.
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 So you got tickets. Did you get tickets originally through like the lottery, the initial sale?
So
How was that?
And you know what? It's actually really okay. If you need to know anything about me, other than the fact that I'm a major Swiftie, I have the worst luck ever. Okay, I have such bad luck. Like the weirdest, like just unlucky things happen to me. So whenever these tickets went on sale, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, there's no way I'm gonna get tickets. That's just not my luck. I'm not gonna hit a homer on this one. It's just not gonna happen. So my mom is also a major Taylor Swift fan, and so is my sister. And so my mom was like, no, like we're getting tickets, like we're gonna do this. And I was like, okay. So tons of people. So I'll give you like a little rundown on the whole pre-sale code situation. Yeah, that's crazy. So an estimated billion? No, it must have been million.
Probably million.
I think 3 million people in Canada signed up for a pre-sale code just for the Toronto shows. 3 million people. And they can only give out as many as there are seats.
Well, how many thousands of seats are there, right?
At the Rogers Centre for however many shows she was doing. And so tons of people signed up, like made multiple Ticketmaster accounts in order to sign up like 6 times. So they had like 6 accounts.
Scammers.
Yeah. So that they would potentially get at least one code. So again, that number 3 million is a little iffy because it's like about each individual that signed up with 6 to 8 accounts. So my mom and I didn't think about doing that. So she signed up with her Ticketmaster account and I signed up with mine. And I had friends that signed up with 8 accounts, with 15 accounts. I had friends that made their boyfriend's parents, their boyfriend's sister's cousin, like make accounts for them to get these pre-sale codes for tickets. My mom and I were like, meh, we'll just use our 2 accounts. Like,
see what happens.
She used her own. Yeah. We got a code. None of my other friends got a code. None of my other friends got not a single one. And so we were like, okay, this is too good to be true. Whatever. So the day comes. My mom, I owe it all to my mom. If you're watching this, I love you. But my mom's my best friend. I could talk about my mom, a whole episode. That can be another episode.
Yeah, that'll be another one.
But so my mom was like, I'm going to take care of it because I was working that day. So I couldn't even do it myself. So she logged on. She went into work to use her work's Wi-Fi because they have better Wi-Fi than we do at home. So she went in, and normally people get in this waiting room and they're in this like queue for like hours. And it'll say like there's like this many people in front of you. Usually it's like 3,000 or 30,000. Like it's like tons of people. My mom logged on. She was almost a minute late to the pre-sale because she had trouble getting into work and like because it was a Saturday. No, it wasn't. I don't know. She had trouble getting into work. And she gets in. She sits down at her computer. She was already late. She logs in. She was like 30th in the queue. She was like, oh my gosh. She said she was in 5 minutes. She bought the first tickets she saw that were decently priced, and which is a lot given the artist. So I don't know how decently priced is.
Yeah.
But
how much did you pay? Do you mind saying?
$500 a ticket, which
that's pretty standard. Like
is standard for
this tour.
Yeah, for a ticket. Now most people are paying like thousands. So now, like, we did buy 4 tickets, so altogether it was like $2,000, but for 4 tickets. So. She logged in. She was in and out with tickets for $500 a piece in 5 minutes. So at this point, we're like, this is too good to be true because these kind of things don't happen to us. So we were really surprised. But it went really, really smoothly, and yeah, that's the ticket process.
Right. That reminds me, like, so I didn't even try and get tickets for the Eras tour. I mean, like, I like some Taylor Swift songs. Of course I do. She has some catchy songs, but like, I'm not about to drop $500 to see her.
Mhm.
But back in 2012, I really wanted to go to One Direction's first concert in Canada. Their first like solo concert where they were like the headlining act was the Up All Night tour. I was in grade 11. Um, and at the time, I think that was like one of the biggest rushes to get tickets in Canada.
Yeah,
Like
probably.
it was, I was there at the computer. That didn't have the whole lottery or queue thing. It was just you refresh that page like crazy at like the minute they go on sale, and you just have to hope that you get something.
Oh my gosh.
I managed to get one ticket in the very back row of the Molson Amphitheater. I think it was Molson. Yeah, Molson Amphitheater. And I was like, I'll take it. It was like $80.
So you went by yourself?
Not quite. I was
Okay.
going to. I was going to, and I was so down to do that.
Driven.
I would not have cared. Tickets were sold out in like minutes. And none of my other friends got one. We were all at like different computers at our homes trying to do it. But then one of my friends ended up getting like a ticket later on. Somehow, like some friend of hers had connections with,
Oh, okay.
or like her dad got tickets for work, so I didn't have to go alone, and I was able to like sneak up to where their seats were.
Oh.
But yeah, it was crazy trying to get tickets for that. Like
Yeah.
that, I mean, it was huge. Now Taylor Swift has like blown that out of the water completely. But yeah, that scramble to get tickets, the adrenaline
Yeah.
is insane.
Yeah. I was like at work, like I was a camp counselor at the time, and so I'm trying to watch my children, but my mom's texting me about Eras Tour tickets. So I'm like, yeah, I cried.
Mm-hmm.
I was very excited. Very excited.
It seems like, so I keep seeing stories of people, like this one girl that I know, I don't know where she lives, somewhere, not Toronto, but like I saw her post on a story, like, I'm on the train to Toronto for the Eras Tour. I don't have a ticket, but I'm hopeful. I was like, are you nuts?
Yeah.
And then just the other day, I saw another story, and she's like, I got a ticket. And I was like, how much did you pay for that ticket? Like, how much do you think, if you, for some reason, decided you weren't going to go to the concert, how much do you think you could sell that ticket for?
Wow. So I feel like we could sell our tickets for even more, probably because there's 4 of them together.
Yeah.
So it's more likely a group of
True,
people.
and they're all seated
And they're
together,
all seated
right?
together.
Yeah.
And I don't even think I've mentioned, but our seats are lower bowl,
Ooh.
110, that section. So they're good seats. And in my opinion, the best seats in the house, because I personally don't like floor seats, because people stand up and then you can't see, and then like security guards are yelling at you for standing up, but if you don't stand up, then you can't see over the people in front of you that are standing up, and
Yeah, it's overrated.
such a process. So personally, I don't like floor seats, and then anything above the 100s, 200s is just so far that you're like,
The nosebleeds.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think, in my opinion, they're perfect tickets. So I feel like honestly, there is got to be somebody out there that would buy these tickets for like $4,000 a piece.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are people out there who are night of concert buying them for $2,000 a piece, and that's like nosebleed seats.
Is there any amount of money that would make it worth it to you?
No.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
No.
Like
Yeah.
you said, things don't happen like this often, right?
No, exactly. And also, this is so much more than just a Taylor Swift concert for me personally. Everybody's got their own story, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, like Taylor Swift fans are so loud, annoying, and so obsessed with Taylor Swift. But it's so much more than that for me. I've grown up. I remember the very moment that she was my introduction to music as a whole. I was in my car, not my car, I was a child, my parents' car. It was the little minivan, because I'm oldest of 4, and there's a lot of us. So I'm sitting in the minivan with my mom, and she turns on the radio, and this song comes on, and it was really catchy. And that was like, I was 5 years old, and this was like the first time, I think I was 5. I might have been a little older than that, but this was the first time I'd ever really listened to music and memorized it. And so every day from that point on, my mom bought the CD. It was the Fearless CD, and the song I'm referencing is Love Story. And I was sitting in the car, and every day my mom would play that song. And then since we had the disc, I would start to hear other songs on the disc. And so then I became obsessed with White Horse. So those were my 2 first ever favorite songs. So not only was she just my introduction to music, the first songs I ever memorized in my life, but it was something my mom and I did together. It was always us in the car listening to Taylor Swift. And then my sister came along and she kind of joined into that tradition. And then all of a sudden Taylor Swift blew up, and it wasn't just something that we loved anymore. It was something that the entire world loved, which has its pros and cons, because now everywhere you go, people just think that you're just a fan of Taylor Swift, and it's
and the more popular something gets, like inevitably there are going to be people who just want to hate on it.
yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
big with Taylor Swift.
100%. I could talk about. Actually, that was my article in the Interrobang issue this week about people who hate Taylor Swift. And I always say, and I tell this to everybody, because the second they find out you're Taylor Swift, they're like, oh, here we go, you're a Swiftie. And it's like, okay, let me tell you this. I have no problem with people who don't like Taylor Swift. The same way that I wouldn't like, I don't know, I can't even really name an artist that I don't like because I'm not very picky. But for example, if I didn't like Drake, I do like Drake, but just for story purposes, if I were to say that I didn't like Drake, like it just wouldn't cause, or that I liked Drake, I was a huge fan of Drake, it wouldn't cause that much, like nobody would reply to that.
No
But-
one's going to take the time to like
Yeah.
just tear you down because you like Drake. Like no, it's different.
Yeah, and even if that person doesn't like Drake, they're gonna sit there and like be like, oh yeah, like I don't really listen to his music, but that's cool.
As it should be.
That is a normal response. However, when you're a Taylor Swift fan and you encounter somebody who does not like Taylor Swift, which again, you are allowed to not like, each person has their own unique taste in music, and that's what makes us all so different. But if you sit there and you tell me that you don't like Taylor Swift because her songs are all about breakups, or because she emits too much jet fuel,
Like who doesn't?
yeah,
Of like famous artists.
of
I mean.
your favorite sports teams.
Yeah.
It's just, and I'm not sitting here and I'm not going to try and change your mind. But if you were to, I would have more respect for you if you were to look me in the eye and simply say, I just don't like her music.
Yeah.
Because it's just not your thing, and that's okay. I have no problem with people who don't like Taylor Swift. But if I say I like Taylor Swift and your first response is, oh, I hate Taylor Swift, like what? Like just, oh, that's cool that you like
Right.
her.
And to say that like, oh well, I don't really like her, and just leave it at that. Like a lot of people, they have to start making like personal attacks against you, like, oh, you're one of those girls, like
Yeah.
you're basic, you do this and this and this because you're a Swiftie.
Yeah.
Like it's weird how much negative attention it gets. So what is it about this tour, the Eras tour, that is so crazy and has people so like fired up? Like she's had tours before, plenty of them. Why is this one so big?
So that's a really great question.
Right.
Fellow reporters
actually don't
admiring
know.
each other's journalistic skills, but yeah. So great question. The Eras tour encapsulates her entire career. So you're correct. She's had many successful tours. She's had the Red Tour. She's had 1989. She's had Reputation, and then some before that as well, I believe. I don't know. I would have been too young, but she has had all these tours. The Rep Tour actually was supposed to be. That was when she was having her moment with the world, where she was kind of. She went into hiding and. Then that's how Reputation became a thing, and everyone was saying that Reputation was going to be the biggest failure of a tour, but it was actually a very successful tour. And to this day, I'm pretty sure, like just based on like basic like numbers, that Rep is her most popular album. I'm 95% sure that is what most people are, label as their favorite. But yeah, she's had many successful tours. I went to the 1989 tour twice when I was 10. Again, very successful tour, sold out stadiums. But those were each individual eras. So each, like 1989 was a tour for the 1989 album. Reputation was a tour for the Reputation album. The Eras tour is a tour that features every single album she has released in her career. From the very beginning, a debut, Taylor Swift, all the way up until most recent Tortured Poets Department, which she actually released halfway through the tour, so it wasn't even on the original set list, but it is now. So it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the Eras tour. It celebrates every era of her career. So fans who have been in love with her in her country era through her, she had a little era where it was kind of like, some people are like, this isn't country, but it's under the genre country, but it sounds more pop. There's that era, and then there's Reputation, which is almost like I don't want to say rap because I know people will come for my throat. She does not rap, but it's very that kind of vibe, I guess we'll say.
It's a little edgier.
Yeah, edgier. That's the word I was looking for. And then there's like Lover, and she's got some slow songs. And there's Evermore and Folklore, which are very. She's like any kind, any genre of music you can think of, she's sang. So there, I think there's really just something for everybody to be found in this tour, and I think another thing too that I was going to add about Taylor Swift is that anytime that you get into a discussion with people about it tends to become more than just a discussion about music, and it tends to become political or centered around misogyny or anything like that. So I think that she's just attracted so much attention from not even just her music, but people really respect her as a person for the things that she's done. So yeah, this tour is huge. Also, she's released three or four albums since her last tour that she hadn't toured with.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of albums on this tour that didn't get their own. So people were like, "Oh, we want to go see these because it was COVID and all that." And also the whole thing with her re-records.
Yeah.
She's re-releasing all her albums. Well, working towards it.
Okay. So I mean, it is kind of a tour in that regard. Like, I can't think of another artist who's done that, like, at the height of their popularity. You know, artists later on in their career, once they're maybe less relevant, will maybe do a concert covering kind of all their greatest hits. But for an artist at the peak of their popularity to do a concert of everything I've ever released, is kind of cool. You don't often get that. And I find, like, when I go to a concert of an artist I like, it's like, yeah, like you said, it's usually one album. Whatever their new album is, it's like, okay, but I want to hear, like, your stuff from, like, 10 years ago.
Yeah, the stuff that I fell in love with.
You know, and, like, maybe those will have, like, a brief song from, like, one or two of those things, but it's usually not, like, the focus. They tend to focus on new stuff. So that is really fun. What do you think? Like, you mentioned kind of how you fell in love with Taylor Swift music. What do you think is, like, the mass appeal of Taylor Swift? Why do so many people love her?
Again, another great question. So yeah, I shared my story, and again, it's different for everyone. But I think the mass appeal is that she's real. She is a place for, and this is not to discredit any male fans that she might attract, but I think she is a safe space for a lot of women. A lot of people like to say, "Oh, she just writes songs about breakups," but it is really so much more than that. She has so many songs that encapsulates everything that you go through growing up as a female. It's actually so funny because I look at what albums I enjoyed at different stages of my life, and it makes me giggle when I reflect on it, because each album that I enjoyed at that time is something she wrote about being that age in her life and how she got through it. So the reason that I relied on them so much was because I was going through those same things. And it's almost like a instruction manual for the average girl's life is what I want to call it. And again, to reply to the she only writes songs about breakups, there's 15, which is about your first day of high school and walking in as a freshman and, like, being scared and, like, you know, that's actually a song that's really special to me because my best friend and I laugh about it all the time because she writes about her high school best friend in that song, and I could go on a whole rampage about that. But anyway, yeah, so there's that. She has a song called Marjorie, which is about her grandmother who passed away when she was 13, and how her grandmother taught her how to live and taught her how to, you know, be a human and become the woman that she is. And these are all things that everybody goes through, like your first day as a freshman in high school, losing the first person that you like, the first time you experience loss in your life of a grandparent most of the time. She's got songs about It's Nice to Have a Friend. She has songs about her mom's battle with cancer. So there are so many just songs that are just scriptures of how to get through some of the toughest things that life can throw at you.
And let's face it, like, even if she did only write songs about breakups, it's like, that's a theme that I think everyone can relate to. Love, lost love, unrequited love. I mean, that's a major part of young people's lives, men and women.
Yeah.
And there's certainly an appeal to that. So to say that, like, those songs aren't, you know, worthy or something, it's, you know, no, it's something everyone goes through.
Yeah. And that comment always makes me laugh too, because I'm always like, what artist doesn't?
Right?
That's what most music is about, quite frankly.
I would say like 75% of, like, pop songs and put in country there too,
Yeah.
are in some way or another about love.
Yeah. Either like love that failed, love that worked out, or love that was supposed to happen and didn't.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. And let's face it, like those are the times when you want to listen to music and like get lost in your
Yeah.
feelings and stuff. Is when
Exactly.
you're feeling heartbroken or something like
Mhm.
that, and that's like one of the most popular topics.
Yeah. So I agree completely. Even if you are, or even if that was all she wrote about.
Is what it is. One question that has been burning in my mind since they started setting up this tour in Toronto: what's with the friendship bracelets? Where did
Oh
that
my
come
gosh, I
from?
love this question. So she has a song called "You're on Your Own, Kid."
Okay.
And in the song, there's a line that says, "So make the friendship bracelets, take the moment, taste it." I think is what it says.
Okay.
I'm gonna get slammed for that.
Not a real Swiftie.
Someone take my tickets. Just kidding. I love that song. But yeah. So it's a line that she said, and I'm not sure exactly like what fan like individually kicked it off, but her fans just literally took that quite literally and just started making friendship bracelets and trading them at tours. And then now actually it's something that people are doing for just concerts in general, like across all artists. So
Yeah, I feel like everybody I've seen who's gone to a show already, obviously people are getting all dressed up in like really crazy outfits, but every single person has like an arm of friendship bracelets.
Yeah.
And I'll see like wives going with their husbands, and he'll also have friendship bracelets like all over his arm, and I'm like, who twisted your arm to do this? But it's cute though. It is.
It is. It's a really special thing, and I'm excited to be in an environment of that many people who are like-minded and who are just like it's a community. It's being a fan of Taylor Swift is not just being a fan. It's a friendship. Like and that's why I think the friendship bracelets are so special, because when you find out someone else is a Taylor Swift fan, it's just you automatically are friends. It's I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean it's like interests and stuff like that. So you are leaving for Toronto tomorrow or Friday?
I haven't.
which
Well,
day.
I would drive up on Saturday morning.
Oh, so- okay,
we had the
Saturday.
hotel for the night after the concert.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to meet my family in my hometown first. I'm not leaving right from London, so I will be driving home to my hometown, which is Barrie. Hopefully tonight, maybe. Fingers crossed. I miss my family.
How was like booking hotels and stuff like that for Toronto?
Oh my gosh, that was also, I want to say, even crazier than getting the tickets, just because of the prices that hotel rooms. Like I didn't even know they could jack them up that high.
Oh yeah.
Like it's actually absurd. They were going for like $2,600 a night for like one room for like with like 2 queen beds or 2 doubles.
It's crazy. I mean, I get it. It's supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
But it is crazy. How early did you book?
We booked the second we knew we got tickets and hotels were open to taking reservations for that day.
Yeah.
So my mom actually called the day that like we got our tickets, and they were like, "Hey, we can only do reservations 12 months out or whatever." So the literal time that it struck midnight on the day she wanted to get a reservation for the hotel a year later, she called, and thankfully we got in. Pricey, but this is a lot of, again, my family doesn't really do vacations or anything like that, so this is kind of like our vacation, our little getaway. So yeah, my mom was willing to. She also just didn't want to worry about having to come home and get through the traffic and and just wanted to be able to take it in and enjoy it, because that's what we did when we went down for 1989 when I was 10, and it made it 10 times more enjoyable.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, what I've always done for concerts in Toronto is I usually don't stay the night, but like we'll park at say Yorkdale and then take the subway down.
Yeah.
Way easier. How long are you just saying the one night?
Yeah, so just the one night. So we do drive back on the Sunday, but I won't be back in London until Monday.
Yeah.
Because the traffic will be crazy.
It will be. Do you have any other plans for while you're in Toronto before or after the concert, maybe the next day?
So I don't know if you've heard, but they're calling Toronto Toronto right now.
Really?
Yes, because of the amount of just events and themed things the city is doing because of her presence in the city. So like tons of restaurants and bars are serving themed Taylor Swift drinks, and there's the convention center's hosting like a Taylor Gate, which is like tailgating for the concert. There is so many things going on, and also just like I don't get to go to the city very often personally, so I do love a good girls trip down to the city where I can do some shopping and eat out at some more fancy places. So definitely will be enjoying and taking all that in while I'm there. My little sister will probably want to swim at the hotel pool.
Of course.
That seems to be, a childhood memory. So
Oh yeah.
I'll have to indulge in that with her.
I used to rank hotels when I was a kid by how nice their pool was. It could be like the most terrible like motel, but if they had a nice pool,
They had a nice
10
pool.
out of 10 in Jack's book.
And a sauna or a hot tub.
Oh, hot tub.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess lastly, after this tour, what do you think is next for Taylor Swift?
So this question actually scares me because I've seen so many theories like circulating online where people are like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, and like you said earlier, it's weird for an artist to do an all encapsulating tour at the peak of their career. It's usually something that kind of happens later on. So I've actually seen so many speculations online that this is it for her, which breaks my heart. But I also personally don't believe that because I really do think that she is so in it and she loves what she does so much that I just don't think she would. I do think she will take a break, what like rightfully deserved, and maybe disappear from the spotlight for a bit. She's, as we know, dating tight end Travis Kelce. So, and they seem to be in a good place in their relationship. So, and she actually had interviews from like 10 years ago where they asked her, "Where do you see yourself in 10 years?" And she said, "Hopefully in 10 years I will know I'll have a family, or I will know if I want a family." So people are kind of speculating that something like that might be coming soon. But again, like we only know what the media is putting out there. I don't know Taylor Swift myself. I wish I did. That would be that would be wonderful. But I can't exactly say, but I just hope that she does whatever feeds her soul, and hopefully that is making more music because that would feed my soul. But yeah, whatever floats her boat. I would love to see a Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift engagement. I can't lie.
Right. I'm sure the world will be watching very closely her next steps after this tour wraps up. But yeah, all of us at the Interrobang are definitely wishing Briar a wonderful time in Toronto at the concert, and I can't wait to hear all about it. You can catch up on more episodes of the Red Couch podcast wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. And also, don't forget to pick up the latest copy of the Interrobang that will be out. You can pick that up all over campus. So thank you very much for talking to me today, Briar.
Thank you for having me.
For the Interrobang, I'm Jack Sutton.